Hello, everyone, and welcome to. I've got the glass up. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Ball. My name is Colly. This week, we have one missing, but we are joined by the ever gloating, the snobbery Big Paddy. Paddy, what's happening?
If you think I was bad last week, you ain't saying nothing yet, baby. Title contenders. Who would have thought this at the start of the season after those first two games? Remember, we got beaten 4-0 and all, and Brighton beat us 3-1, and all the Liverpool fans were slagging us, and then they only got beaten 3-0 the weekend. I love it.
You don't believe you're title contenders.
I do.
Right, Paddy, look, we'll get into it in a second. We're going to start off by telling everybody what we're going to be looking at this week. We're going to be looking at all the all the results that have happened during the week. A few little bits of controversy has happened in them games, so we'll be talking a bit about them. We'll have a quick look at the fantasy football, and then we'll be chatting about the weekend games. We'll only be looking at Liverpool and Chelsea, and then we'll be looking at Arsenal and Man United as well. So, Paddy, we're gonna kick off. We're gonna kick off. We're gonna kick off straight away. We're gonna jump into the football review.
I know why you choked there. What game are we looking at first?
Oh, fuck's sake! The first game we have to look at, Paddy, is Fulham and Chelsea. I mean,
Joe Felix, what a player. He's brilliant.
Do you know what, right?
I'm steady.
He looked class when he was playing, right? The first thing he came on, he gets the ball, he gives a nice little sexy touch, he puts it through the legs, he runs by someone, lays it off, then he's in the box, he's putting it across the fucking mount of Havertz, neither of them could score, because shit. But he looks so much better than anything we've had so far. And he looks dangerous, which is what I want to see.
Very fucking dangerous, yeah. Look, Dana White is looking to sign him.
So I don't know what happened there, because he was never sent off, I don't think, especially under fucking Simeone over in Atletico. Now, that's probably because he doesn't play as much, but just an absolute rush of blood to the head, and he comes in, studs up, straight into the shins. I mean, it's a tackle I love to see, but I don't like to see it from Joe Felix, because we kind of need him a little bit more than anyone else.
He wasn't looking to hurt the player.
No, and to be honest with you, looking at the tackle, he looks like he kind of tries to pull out of it. Doesn't really, but he tries his best, and that's all I can say about it. But I was very disappointed he got sent off, because he was looking very promising. Other than that, we were poor.
It was a red, though, yeah? You do agree with that?
It was a red, yeah. I think it was a red, just because of how high he was, and then the contact that was made was legitimate contact, so it's not like he didn't make contact with him. He made proper contact, so I couldn't argue with it. A lot of people were saying soft red. I did say I kind of agree with them, soft red, but I can see why it's a red, and I could see why that wouldn't be getting overturned or anything like that. So that was that. Then we come to the fucking farcical tactical display, where again we're being forced to play the ball out from the back. One man in particular really struggled, and that was Chalobah, and he I don't know what it was, but he just looked awful in this game. And I had said it, I think, the week before, why is fucking Chris Benoit not playing? And because he's a centre half, and
Chris Benoit.
Chris is I'm not even going to try pronounce his other name, but Benoit is his second name, so I'm just going to call him Chris Benoit from now on. I just go to Chris. Chris is me go-to, isn't it? Chris Potter, yeah. Chris Benoit. Yeah. So, Paddy, I was a little bit disappointed with how he played. I think he was the cause of one of the goals as well, and there was a chance of his header. He was trying to head it back, and he puts one of the Fulham players in on goal, and it was just sloppy all around. And he's being forced to play out of the back. He's not the most tactical or the most technical player in the world, so when he's being forced to play the ball from out of the back, he really struggles. Another one who was struggling in defence was Lewis Hall. I spoke about him last week, I think, Paddy, and I said, fair enough, Lewis Hall is a half decent player, but I don't think he's as experienced as the likes of Cucurella. I think Cucurella is a bit more knowledgeable in knowing what to do and when to do it. The first goal, I think it was Willian's goal, came from Lewis Hall trying to beat a player from left back, loses the ball gets hit across. Willian eventually scores. So that to me just shows the tactical and technical inexperience of Lewis Hall. Look, great going forward, and he's getting forward, he's getting into the box and stuff like that. At the end of the day, he's a defender. And if we have 4 at the back and one of them is struggling over there, it pulls the whole other defenders over and it squeezes us really tight and it doesn't work.
Let's analyze for a second in terms of you're saying you playing out the back, they can play out from the back. When Tuchel was there, they played out from the back and they played out fairly successfully from the back.
Not as intense as they're doing now. And what they used to do with Tuchel was if it wasn't on, they wouldn't play it. So now what's happening is you've got the 3 players. So if they're playing 3 at the back, you've got the 3 players sitting beside the goalkeeper. And regardless of who is sitting there in front of that box, they're playing it out rather than just going, all right, come on. Now, the only thing I will say, and I was going to get to it later, but the one thing I did like was the Crystal Palace game. It was almost as if a light bulb flicked with Potter and Kepa Stark. I don't know if it was Kepa or I don't know if it was Potter, but Kepa was telling everybody to get up. Let's go. We're not fucking playing it out from the back.
Yeah.
And we ended up winning the game and keeping a clean sheet. And all I've had a problem with is us playing out the back because we bring ourselves so many ridiculous, needless issues.
Yeah.
And it looked like he had kind of sorted it against Crystal Palace, which I was happy to see. Chris Benoit also played, so I was happy to see that as well. And to be honest with you, he was fucking quality, which is what I'm happy to see as well. Him beside
a massive issue.
Very good. Like
I remember earlier in the season with Manchester United as well, because David De Gea was known for not being great with his feet, playing out from the back, and he obviously had Maguire and Lindelof in front of him. And when he started not worrying about passing it and just hitting the ball long, it made a massive difference. So maybe they're going through the same process now at the moment at Chelsea.
Do you have to be? Because like, Paddy, let's be honest, right? Me and you are sitting here on our fucking couches watching this and we can see it. Chris Potter has all these videos, all this data, all this analytics that'll tell you, right, we're playing out of the back 99% of the time. We're losing the ball's breaking down, nothing's coming from it. Obviously not 99%, but you'll have a more accurate percentage. Maybe 60% of the time the ball breaks down and we become under pressure. There has to be someone looking at that going, right, this is an issue. Why are we losing the ball so much coming out here? Why are we still doing this? Are we more successful kicking the ball to halfway? To like midfield? Are we better off hitting the strikers? Are we better off going wide? Are we better off going in the middle? Like all these things need to be looked at to determine, right, where is your best percentage? Where are you winning most of the ball? Where can you get the most success? And it's definitely not playing a 2-yard pass to Thiago Silva or Chalobah or whoever it may be that's sitting and standing beside the goalkeeper who's being forced to play it out. That to me was it didn't sit well for a while, and I was happy. I have to admit, I was happy to see that Kepa was telling everybody, no, get the fuck out. We're not playing it out the back here. And he launched the ball forward. 50-50. You know what I mean? Who wins the aerial battle? You can pick out your strong. Like, it's in your hands because the air goalkeeper is choosing where to kick that. We can select the player we want to hit it to. Whereas when you were playing it out in the back, everyone was just getting overloaded. We were just launching it and it was breaking down. So
I take it we're going to just stick with talking about the teams as we're reviewing the matches, because I wanted to ask you about the spending spree Chelsea are going on since this season. What, $500 million?
$500 million from now till summer.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But obviously, do you not see there's a bit of a problem there where it looks like they're trying to spend to solve a problem when money is probably not the problem?
And I think I kind of touched on this, before last week, Paddy.
It's the coach.
I put one up. I put a little Instagram post, as I do on Saturdays or Sundays whenever the football's on, because it's the active day. Chelsea have, for instance, we lost against Fulham. You lose a game, we go out, we spend 100 million. We lose a game, we go out and spend 100 million. Anytime there seems to be a defeat, a bad result, all of a sudden news breaks. Chelsea have completed the signing of this fucking nobody for 100 million. We lose another game. Oh, Chelsea are in talks with this fella. We lose a game. Chelsea are in talks with that fella. Chelsea are in talks with that fella. We won against Crystal Palace. There's no transfer news. Chelsea aren't linked with anybody because it's all fucking
financial team are like, whoo, thank God.
Yeah, it's like it's well done. Like, do you know what I mean? That's great work. No, we need to stop buying players for the sake of buying them. As I said, we did get a couple of players in, the likes of Sterling, Koulibaly. They're all kind of above the age, but 80% of the players that we've signed are probably under the age of 23. And it can be a thing where it looks like he's building for the future. But to be honest with you, it just looks like an excuse to say we're building for the future so he doesn't have to swallow his pride and sack Potter, because he sees him as being the long-term solution. I don't know why he thinks he would be the long-term solution. There is zero evidence to support him being a success at Chelsea. I wouldn't mind if he'd done it at a different club. Like, his best position was, I think, 9th with Brighton. To me, look at Brighton now. Like, Brighton are doing better now, I think, without him. They're after beating Liverpool 3-0. And they've had a lot of other results. I think they beat Hughes at the start of the season. Like, do you know what I mean? So maybe Potter was actually holding Brighton back, because I said it last week, I think it was. I thought Brighton have really good players, and it maybe just looked better on Potter because the players were overachieving and they were playing better, and it wasn't down really
good players. Chelsea have much better players.
What is it?
Chelsea have much better players now. If you're going by that logic, well, then he should be doing half decent with the Chelsea squad, but he's not.
If he's able to get that out of that squad that you had at Brighton, okay, right. You could say, right, if that's the level, so if he's up here and fucking Brighton are here, you'd imagine, right, the players are up here with Chelsea, he should be fucking up here now. But he's not. He's not. There's no climb with him. He's staying where he is, and we've gone above, and he's just not able to handle that pressure. Like, I don't think anyway. Doesn't look enthusiastic on the sideline. Doesn't give instructions that I can see.
I think what the issue is like you were talking about when he was at Brighton. He was like, the players were here, he was here, but I think now he's at Chelsea, the players are here, and he's staying, and
he's still there, still there.
You know, so and then I don't think the senior players especially won't respect him, and maybe this is why they're trying to buy players in that are fresh, and they're his people, you know, because I think that's one thing Ten Hag. So I'm sorry I'm bringing it back to United, but I'm just saying he brought in his own people there, the core staff, and maybe that's going to make the difference. Yeah,
I don't know. It's again, look, Chelsea got a win. Look, I'm going to bring it on to the Crystal Palace game because we beat Crystal Palace 1-0. Paddy, this game was like, so it was still so poor. Like, our goal came from a corner. So a set piece, and we got a header from a corner. If we don't score that header from a set piece, a dead ball, we probably don't win that game, because we were physically unable and tactically unable to break Crystal Palace down in this game. We couldn't do it until we got lucky with a set piece. And it wasn't like we had loads of chances. We were creating loads of chances. We were keeping them under pressure. Their backs were not against the wall. They were having plenty of attack as well. The only reason, and I think I said it on a post I put up on Instagram, was it required a world-class performance from Thiago Silva, and that's the only way I can describe it. That was a world-class performance from Thiago Silva to keep Chelsea from conceding. And that, to me, like, our defenders should not be getting man of the match 90% of the time. That shouldn't be happening.
I think Chelsea's confidence now is on the floor.
Rock bottom.
So
rock bottom.
Any result now is a good result, to be quite honest with you.
And it was nice to see. I think it was Mason Mount. You could see him celebrating when Havertz scored the header, and he really looked like he cared. And I'm just like, okay, right, that's all well and good. You're doing that for the cameras, I think. Put the fucking work in on the pitch. Give me your performances. Do you know what I mean? It's all well and good doing that, and I just don't buy it. Like, some of the stuff I don't buy it. So yeah, that's where I'm kind of at with Chelsea at the moment. Have you anything else to ask me before we move on?
It doesn't look like they're going to change manager, really, does it? Because the investment that's being made. Although, do you think Todd Bowley will want to run the club like a Bayern Munich in terms of the coach is just the coach? And I suppose even the way Chelsea was running under Abramovich, because it didn't matter what manager was brought in, the same fundamentals of kind of the squad was there.
I think at the start initially Abramovich was very much like that. And what the fuck did the Wolves keeper just do there? He just kicked it out for. Sorry, we are watching Wolves and Liverpool, by the way, in the FA Cup. I think at the start of Abramovich's reign, he was very much like that, where he would just, right, I'm buying this fella, I'm buying that fella, buying that fella. I slowly thought I saw him working a bit more with the managers, and kind of the players that came in always seemed to suit the system that was required, maybe it being from Mourinho or whoever else it was. I always thought that he kind of relinquished that kind of overpowering transfer hole that you had on everyone. Now, let's be honest, he probably did say, look, I want to sign this guy, like, just fucking make it work, and that was probably the be all and end all of it. But now I just see Bowley in that situation where he's playing Monopoly with all these people, and he's like, yeah, buy that. Every player he says, like, yeah, buy him, I'll buy him. And then he's just like, yeah, sell him. That's not how to operate it. That's not going to work correctly. We end up with it's Paddy, it's going to be like United, where yes, we get the investment, but we're buying absolute shite that's not required. Do you know what I mean? And that's where the issue is going to end up being. And with Potter there, is he going to get the best out of his players? And are they going to lose motivation pretty fucking quickly if the results aren't coming with that transfers coming in?
Yeah.
And I don't know if the fans are going to accept it for long as well.
They shouldn't.
I don't think they should. And I think they should be voicing their opinion straight away. Like, because we're sitting in 10th. It's not good.
Maybe you can understand now from when the United fans are talking about and giving out and shiting about, in terms of giving out about the owners, giving out about the way the club was run, because, and you were saying, oh, you've spent $1 billion. You can spend all the money in the world, but if you spend it incorrectly and you have the wrong people there making the football decisions, well, then you're fucked.
Yeah, and it is true. And I wouldn't mind if he was doing that if we had a good coach in there or a good manager. Do you know what I mean? I wouldn't mind it as much, but because I'm not happy with the manager,
or even a football director.
Yeah, well, I think we're after getting the guy from Leipzig, so he should be in there actually doing that now. But I just don't like that, the fact that we're spending so much money when I'm not happy with the manager. Now, I know it doesn't give a bollocks what I think, but like, I'm not happy with the manager, so all of a sudden I'm seeing fucking 200 million players coming in, and I'm like, oh no, we're getting this player, and we have him with this coach. I'm like, this coach is not going to elevate this player to the next level. Look at Raheem Sterling, went from Liverpool, had bags of potential, hadn't released the potential yet. Pep Guardiola turns him into a different player for a couple of seasons. Obviously, before we signed him, we maybe fell off slightly, and we picked him up. But he doesn't have that thing about him where I think he's going to turn a player into something else. Like we have Nkunku coming in the summer, who's a very good player, but is he going to elevate him to the next game? Is he trying to build a squad around him? I don't think he is. I think he's probably going to be fairly stubborn and playing away he wants to play, and then that'll be 2-0. 2-0 to Liverpool.
Look, I'll tell you now, I think the longer you keep Potter there, buying all these players, I look, it's like history repeating itself. I've seen it happen at United now for the last 10 years. You buy good players and you ruin them because they come into a squad that's low in confidence, doesn't respect the manager, and there's grumblings going on. There's as we talked about with Pogba and Lingard, there's a cancer in the dressing room, with people going away from the manager, and you spend this new lad just bought 100 million during the week, and he's coming into a squad that's low in confidence, and then his confidence gets low, and he just doesn't look like the money that he was bought for.
Yeah, it's a domino effect though. Like, it comes down from the top, and it's just a constant fucking battle against it. Like, Paddy, will we move off Chelsea? We'll move on. Do you know what we'll do? We'll move on to Liverpool, because I do want to keep United stats. I want to build a suspense.
Talk about this.
So look, I don't really. We usually have Connor on, who's a Liverpool fan, and he's not here at the moment. So, Paddy, how happy are you? No, what I do actually want to ask you is, and I put it up on TikTok and triggered a lot of people. Jurgen Klopp's reign as Manchester United or Liverpool manager, like, how is it ending? Like, is he gonna get sacked? Is he gonna walk out? They're saying, every Liverpool fan is saying he's gonna walk out because that team's a disgrace. He's due about 45 million or something if he walks out. So he's not going to do that.
And that's why he won't walk out.
Yeah, I can't see him, like, and everyone's like, oh, he's not about the money. Bollocks. If you put 45 million in front of me, I will do anything you want. I will stay there. I will stay in the one position for 10 years if you give me 45 million. There's no way he's walking out of that job if he's not getting 45 million. He's completely waiting to be sacked to get that money if he wants it. And the problem is, I don't think they will sack him, but I also think that Liverpool do need a complete rebuild as well.
Absolutely. But you see, I think people, may have been filled a little bit as well. During this era of dominance, I read a stat there the other day that
Dominance.
they won one Premier League, one Champions League, and one FA Cup.
Yeah, some
United
dominance.
done that. United done that in one season, '99.
And they're still talking about it.
But no,
They nearly
seriously,
won the
like,
quadruple last year, and they're fucking still shining on about it.
it's not good. And you can't keep blaming the owners. You know, the owners didn't get the exact same squad they had last year that nearly won the quadruple and just ruined all their confidence and stopped them playing the way they played. That's all about motivation. Like I understand exactly what happened at the start of the season. Those players went so hard last year at getting the quadruple. They only ended up with one trophy. Their confidence was shit. And then even after that, you kind of think to yourself, right, I have to go again. But that's when it's the manager's job to go, come on, lads, we have to go again. And he'll motivate them. But he's failed to do it, which is bad
They
management.
lost a massive player in Mane, but it's not like they haven't bought a player in the same position. So they've brought even more in. They've brought Nunez in. They've brought Diaz in. So like, I know. Look.
And the new lad. Who's the new lad they got as well? The Dutch lad. A few weeks ago.
Oh, fucking Gakpo. And they got him as well. So like,
he's winning about not having money.
Yeah, I know. And the one thing I say, and Paddy, I think we gave Connor stick about this before, was that Klopp was just not managing that squad correctly because, yeah, fair enough. Maybe they weren't getting back from the owners, but there was enough there to replace a midfielder. Go get a midfielder. They brought in Thiago and he's been, look, let's be honest, Thiago is quality, but he's injured 75% of the time. So he was
past his best when Liverpool bought.
It's like Kante. Like, to me, Kante, one of the best defensive midfielders in the world. When was the last time he played a game for Chelsea? It's probably fucking nearly a year ago or something. Like the last game I remember him playing anyway. And if he does play, he gets injured. It'll probably actually just start the season and he got injured again. Like, he's earning probably 220, 240 grand a week. Like, get him off the books. We don't need him sitting there. Like, give him to someone else. Get a fee for him. Get 60, 70 million if you can. I know money's not an object for Chelsea now, but like, if you want stuff being better down the line, like, let's try balance the books a little bit. Let's get 67 million in for Kante and do something like that. But like, you look at the likes of the midfield for Liverpool, Fabinho, Milner, Thiago, like all of these players, Henderson, all these players are injury prone. They're all coming towards the end of the career. James Milner's about 50. He's still probably the fittest player on the team, but he doesn't have the talent anymore, I don't think, to be sitting in midfield and playing there. So he plays him right back, which I don't blame him because fucking Trent is shit.
Klopp was in the perfect position to be able to plan to bed new midfielders in, buy them, keep Henderson and Milner there, supporting them for a couple of years until they could take over. But he hasn't done that.
No, I think it's a complete mismanagement from Klopp. And what is it? 7 season syndrome?
Yes. Absolutely.
We'll see what happens with that. Paddy, we would talk a bit more about that, but Connor's not here to give him abuse, so we'll move on. Paddy, we're going to move on to something that I don't know if you're going to be able to control your emotions when it pops up onto the screen here, but Manchester
Can
United,
I get a oh yeah?
No, not getting it from me.
Come on.
Not getting it from me. Absolutely not.
Can somebody text in a oh yeah, please?
Paddy, that first goal, talk to me right now. Let's take your Manchester United cap off here.
Right.
The first goal, what are you saying about it?
Definite goal. All day long.
Okay, right. Let's put facts down because I know what you're gonna do here. It was given as a goal.
Yeah.
Should this have been given as a goal?
Look, as Ten Hag said as well, if it was against United, I'd be disappointed.
Yeah.
But it was a goal. What else can I say?
Can you see why like what is your honest opinion on the whole thing? Like, talk me through the actual goal. Like, do you think it should have been given?
If they had disallowed the goal, there wouldn't have been too much argument about it.
There couldn't have been because it should have been. It should have been ruled off. The argument now comes because it was given. And that's why I think everybody's still arguing about it. Because if that's not given, nobody gives a fuck and everybody just moves on and that's it. Like the reason, and it's actually funny if you check the video on TikTok, I'm about the rant because I was filming when it was given. Like I don't care who wins that game, to be honest with you, it doesn't affect Chelsea. But I was recording a rant and 2 seconds into the video, fucking Rashford made it 2-1. So you see me holding there and then just all of a sudden just like, and my fucking jaw drops because I'm watching Rashford after making it 2-1. And I'm like, no. I was like, this can't be. So
And Garnacho gets the assist.
Paddy, I just think that, and the only people that say that should have been given us a goal is Manchester United fans. All right. And I get the stubbornness and I get the, like, go fuck yourselves, we're due a bit of luck and all that. The official ruling should, that has to be given as offside.
Well, the referee didn't. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, when I seen the video of Rashford not being there, it obviously, like, you can see that he wouldn't have got to the ball anyway, that defender. People are saying that he was obstructing the defender from getting to the ball.
Did you see the picture of it without Rashford that Sky Sports showing?
Yeah.
He's about
Fernandes
3 foot away from the ball.
No, Fernandes would have got the ball.
Paddy, you know it's bad, right? When that fucking prick on Sky Sports, Peter Walton, who I don't know, is he Sky Sports or I think he's Sky Sports. He's the biggest prick in football when it comes to refereeing decisions. And then I think it could be BT actually, but he's the biggest prick when it comes to like always siding with the ref, and the ref is never wrong, and he always tries to justify. Yeah, I can see why the ref did this, blah 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 blah. You know it's bad when he's after coming out and going, to be honest with you, the safe bet there is to give it offside. Like that's what he's saying, and you know it's bad when he's saying that because he doesn't often say that. He's always on the side of the refs. Paddy, I'll read out like
you know what's surprising to me, that you and probably every other supporter that's not a Manchester United supporter are just fixated on this because you're just sick that we won and we're now in the title race.
This is a game changer. This is a complete game changer. This could potentially have won Arsenal the league.
And it happens all the time in games. It happens all the time.
I would accept
Many
that.
times have we sat here and get out about VAR.
I would accept, and that's what I'm about to say. I would accept that decision if we did not have VAR and we had no ability to go back and look at that and re-look at it again. We have the ability to go and spend 15 minutes, which they do with most fucking decisions.
He didn't touch the ball.
It doesn't have to. Right, hold on. I'm going to read out, right? This is the FA.
I heard it on
ruling.
BBC. They read out the rules already.
I'm going to read some of them, right? And whatever I think. Interfering with
some
play.
bedtime reading.
Interfering with play by playing or touching a pass ball or touched by a teammate. Interfere with an opponent by preventing an opponent from playing or being able to play the ball by clearly obstructing the opponent's line of vision. So there you go. That in itself says the line of vision of the ball is all it requires.
You could see through his legs.
It's the line of vision.
He could see the ball.
Player,
he could see the ball.
Ball, player, ball. No, player, ball, player. Sorry, there's only one ball in the pitch.
But they weren't directly. He was like that.
No, stop, buddy. Stop. Like I'm not. Come on. Stop it. Stop. Admit it. It should have been given offside. You got lucky.
No, definitely not.
It's disgusting. All you United fans, you are all the same. You all love to fucking gloat when you are winning. If that was against you, you'd be on here.
Yeah, and you're not like that at all, Colly.
Raging. No, I'm not. Like I'm very neutral. I am. Now, Paddy, if that came against you, you would be raging.
I wouldn't.
Yeah. Fucking would. Absolutely.
Look, can we talk about the good stuff in the game, please?
Another one I want to get onto as well is Haaland should have had a fucking penalty.
No, he shouldn't. He kicked Casemiro's foot.
That was a penalty all day long. Again, VAR. Manchester VAR United. Like that one, no? Right, go on, Paddy. Go on. Now we can have your side of this game. Go on.
Fucking hell. I'm going to go on a United podcast or something because this is just ruining us altogether. You asked me earlier on, do I think we're title contenders?
Yeah.
You always talk about the spine of a team. I think two of the best signings we've made is Varane and Casemiro. We've Rashford on fire. And I said at the start of the season, actually, I'd like to point out as well, I said at the start of the season, you were asked about who you'd sell and who you'd keep. I said I'd sell Martial, but I'd definitely keep Rashford. I always knew there was a player there. I also predicted 2-1 for United this weekend for the match, if we go back to the podcast last week. So
can I jump in there for 1 second? And I'll just say one quick comment and then I'll move off. 90% of Manchester United fans wanted to sell Rashford last season and the season before. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. I heard a lot of them, but I wasn't one of them. I was not one of them.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah,
I was absolutely against it. But we've a great spine there at the moment. We've cover on the wings. I just hope this new lad coming in can do better than Martial, because we still are light up front. Look, I say tongue in cheek, we're in the title race. We obviously are, because we're not that far off. But I think if we can win the next 2 games, we're absolutely in it. But that's a big if.
Yeah, like you're 9 points off.
That's what I said. If we win the next 2 games,
I suppose everybody's saying that City are still there and still contenders, and you's being 1 point off them. You can't say you aren't. Do you know what I mean? Like you couldn't argue with someone saying no, we're not. If we're gonna say Man City are now, I think people will say
Newcastle are as well.
Yeah, and I suppose this is what I was going to say, was that maybe people are thinking United or City will be more of a contender just because of the talent that they have in the team rather than anything else.
Of course, and the experience, and they've been there, done it before. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I do agree. I do have to say, I think is probably contenders. Paddy, I'm gonna say it now, right? And it's gonna be a bold statement, and I've put it on TikTok already, and people are not happy with me. Arsenal are gonna blow this, and I guarantee it. And like, they're celebrating. Well, to be honest with you, they're being humble enough about it, because I think they know they are Arsenal, but they're gonna blow this, and I know for a fact they're gonna blow it.
But every weekend, I keep on thinking to myself, this is when they'll drop points or whatever, and they're just not. They're being so professional, like they really, really are. Like last week, derby game against Tottenham, against Spurs. I know, like, a Spurs that aren't performing great, but you'd always see a resurgent Spurs even in the second half, and Arsenal just managed the game really, really well. I think Arteta has got something in that squad now where they've got a bit of steel in them. It isn't the Arsenal of old, and I do think, look, they'll be there or thereabouts. It's going to go until the last day of the season, I think, this year.
I think they're going to finish third. I think United are going to finish second, and I think City are going to win the league. That's the way I say it, finishing up from now. I know, like, 8 points is a lot, but we're only halfway through the season. I think people are getting more wrapped up in it now, because if you were to look at the table now, last season, we're probably, 23, 24 games into it. But because we had the World Cup, I think people are forgetting we're still only, like, this. Yeah. This would in reality probably be the break just before Christmas. Do you know what I mean? And we haven't got into that, like, kind of busy period. This is now still only coming up. So I think people are probably looking at that, jumping the gun a bit, saying like, oh no, it's like, that's it, it's a done deal. 8 points and there's still 18 games left. Like, that's a lot of football to be played. That's the exact same amount of points that's up for grabs as we were at now.
And it's when if United and City and Newcastle keep winning, and they lose one game and it goes down to 6 points, it's how they react then, because they've got a nice cushion now. But when that cushion starts to reduce, that's when the real pressure comes in. You know, real pressure.
When you think about it now, go on, sorry.
No. Just before we move off of this, I just want to call out the absolute genius that Erik ten Hag is, and what he's done for the club. Not only look, United supporters are going to be listening to this, so let's give it some. What he's done, not only with the players in the squad, but if you look at how the players are reacting to the crowd. The noise that was in Old Trafford the weekend was absolutely phenomenal. I haven't seen an atmosphere like that in a long, long time. And the unity between the squad and the manager is absolutely amazing. And look, if not this season, we'll be back winning the Premier League very, very soon, and the big trophies. Champions League next year, bring it on.
Can I counteract you by saying, right, I think Ten Hag is a power hungry fucker, and he's going to shoot himself in the foot and he's going to lose that dressing room soon enough, right? That's one of my statements that I'm going to make. The audacity of the United fans to say that he is the best manager they've had since Alex Ferguson, I think that's a disgrace and a disrespect to the rest of your managers. Mourinho in there. Are you telling me that Ten Hag is a better manager than Mourinho? Absolutely not. Mourinho called that one of his best successes was finishing second with that United team. He knew there was cancers in that team, and he was never going to get anything more out of that team. So I think it's a disrespect to say that he was the best player, the best manager you've had since Fergie. I think that's disgusting to say. And
I can sit here and say he's one of. I'm not saying like it's too early.
I'll
it's too early
to
say he's the best. I would not make a sweeping statement like that because it's too early. He's only been there half a season.
And that's why I kind of had an issue with it because look at Ollie's first season when he came in. He was flying, you know. So I think it's just another thing is I don't want to offend you here, Paddy, but I'm starting to now think that United fans are probably the most plastic fans I've ever seen. Chelsea get plastic all the time. Manchester United fans, to me,
look, I'll tell you what, Colly. Now hold on a minute.
Are a disgrace.
Right. I'm gonna look at Chelsea now, and for you, I actually don't hope that you don't go through the same spell we went through for the last 10 years with bad ownership, bad signings, bad management. Because if you do, and then if you had a season like we did last year, which is pretty much this season, and then next season you have a coach that comes in and unifies everything, brings the club back to where it looks like the glory days. It's not plastic, fan. It's just you're so happy to see your club back where you think it belongs again.
No, I get that, but you have to admit United fans have been very silent the last 10 years, and I know there hasn't been much to cheer about, but I'm always there when Chelsea lose, and I'll be the first to take the stick. I just think United fans take the stick so badly, and you give them stick, they're just like, well, yeah, we're shit. It's the owners, blah blah blah.
No, look. You're saying this, but that's unfair to say because Chelsea fans are just as bad. It's just there's not as many. So the United fans are going to be louder because there's more of them.
Yeah,
and that's simply what it is.
I'll accept that. Okay, I'll accept that. I don't think there's much point in getting into that one. Okay, Paddy. So, Anton, you want to add into that Man United performance, or Anton, you want to add for the Man United fans listening?
Sometimes you have to ride your luck, and we did the weekend. Really good tactical performance, but that goal was extremely lucky to be given. In another game, it could definitely be given as offside. But what I think it could be a big turning point in the season for United, especially. I think Guardiola coming out and saying that, I don't care about the Premier League, I don't care about the Carling Cup because we've won them so many times now. They're gone to us. That's mind games. That's bullshit. That's probably to give his players a kick up the arse to kind of say he thinks the Premier League is gone now. We'll show him. I think that's all that is. But yeah, bring it on. Okay. All good.
Right, Paddy, we'll move off that, right? What we'll jump on to real quick is the fantasy football. Paddy, we're gonna bring up the we're in the middle of a game week. There was kind of a double week this week, so we're gonna bring up the league and have a look at it there. So we'll start off with my team. At the moment, I currently have 52 points. The average so far this week is 40. So I had Kepa in goal, who got me a crisp 10 points. Nice. I have White, who got me 8. I have Trippier, who got me 9. Luke Shaw got me a disappointing 2. Dalot I brought in thinking that he probably wasn't going to play anyway, or else he might come on and do something. So I put him in the team because I know if he doesn't play, then I have another defender coming on. So I took a gamble with that one. Almiron got me 3. Rashford got me 10. Salah got me 2. Martinelli with 2. Harry Kane with 2. And then Haaland, unfortunately, picked him as captain, and he only has 4 at the moment. The good thing about that is, Paddy, I have Andreas Pereira on the bench, and I have Saliba. As far as I know, if Dalot comes out, I think Saliba goes in, or maybe it's fucking Pereira.
But I think Dalot will play during the week.
Will he?
I think so.
I think either way now at this stage, Palace. It doesn't matter. I think they might actually change my formation to a 3-5-2 rather than a 4-4-2. I'm bringing Saliba in. Yeah, I think I might be fucked on that one.
I just mean for this because it's a double week. Yeah, you won't get Saliba in if Dalot plays against Palace.
Fair enough. Right, we'll move on to your own team, Paddy. See how you're doing. So, do you want to walk us through?
55 so far. Ederson number 1, but I don't mind that this week. Trippier and Schär again. Newcastle best defense in the league. Officially, they're rock solid, and I think you probably nearly have the top 4 done already. I think at this early stage of the season. Then you've got Son. Odegaard got me 9 points, done well. Rashford as me captain, 20. I like that. Almiron didn't do much in that game. Martial, I'm getting rid of him this week. He's just not doing it any week. He's not scoring at all. Haaland and Kane. So yeah, that's what I've got. I've got Saibi and Martinelli on the bench, but I don't. If Dalot doesn't play, Saibi will come in because I don't think Martinelli can come in for the defender.
No, yeah, you're getting your the only reason that you will get that is because you can't go down to a 2 at the back. You have to go 3. I have 4 defenders, so I think at my formation I can drop a midfield or a defender out and a midfielder can come in. So
yeah, happy with that. 55 so far, yeah. And
we'll have a quick look at
Rashford captain.
Yeah,
although I think he might be rested for the weekend.
Interesting. We'll run through Connors real quick. He's 34 points. He had Pope and goal for 5, Saliba for 6, Cancelo got 1, Schär, Cody, Almiron. He has Trossard still in there. De Bruyne with 5, Haaland with 2, Kane as captain with 4, and Watkins with 1. He's got Pereira on the bench with 2, Zuma, and then De Silva has 6 on the bench. So Connor doesn't look like he's really keeping up to date with that. So we'll have to go on him. Next one is the league. So the league table at the moment. So 50 Shades of O'Shea. We have a change at the top.
Wow.
O'Shea has been there for quite a while, and Colly Lamb is now, after overtaking, 64 points. So 1,252 he's got. O'Shea's in second with 1,244. Dean Fletcher holds his place with 1,223. Anto O'Rourke moves up to 4th with 1,207. Callum Warfield down to 5th with 1,202. Johnny Murphy up to 6th with 1,193. Paul Cummins, who I believe is my cousin, is up to 7th with 1,188. Francis Bellardi up to 8th with 1,188 as well. Alan Donovan drops down to 9th with 1,187, and Conor Ennis with drops down to 10th with 1,184. So still all to play for. It's not too far out of reach. Like I said, we're only halfway through the season. We have just as many points up for grabs for the rest of the season. Right, Paddy. We're going to move on to the last thing, which is the predictions for this week. Right, Paddy. 2 games this week, 2 big games as well. First game coming up is Liverpool and Chelsea. Basically a relegation battle. 2 of the most underperforming teams of the season, you'd have to say. How do you see this one going?
Oh God. Simply because it's in Anfield. If it was in Stamford Bridge, I'd probably just give it to Chelsea. But because it's in Liverpool, or Anfield, I think I'll just give it to Liverpool. And I'm going to say 1-0. If he's had Joe Felix still there, I would have been thinking differently. Yeah. But I think, I'm going to give Liverpool 1-0, and I'm going to go Salah to score.
I'm a little bit torn in this one because I think the last game showed me that Chelsea can defend as a unit, and I liked Chris Benoit there in defence. I don't know whether Chris Potter is going to start bringing Ruben Loftus-Cheek back in the team because I know he's on the bench. There has been talks of him Newcastle or something wanting to sign him. I don't know why they would do that and worsen their team by getting him in. But if they start bringing him back into the team, that's it. We're fucked. Depends on the team that Potter starts with, I think. And it depends on how they decide to play defensively. But if it's going to go the way I think it's going to go, I think Liverpool are going to beat us 2-0. I don't think we're going to break them down. Don't think we're going to be able to break them down. It's either going to be 2-0 to Liverpool or else it's going to be 0-0. Because if we have a good defensive display, whatever happens here, I don't see us scoring. I don't see it happening. But 0-0 or else 2-0 to Liverpool. I don't see Chelsea winning this anyway. Paddy, will move off onto the next one and the last one. Arsenal and Manchester United. Probably Manchester United's biggest game of the season. I know we had just the Manchester derby, but this one is probably the one that would make a massive statement. What way do you see this one going for Manchester United?
I suppose I'll briefly just touch on the game tomorrow night as well, because we haven't looked at that as well. So maybe we can get predictions for that against Palace.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna put out a weakened squad in terms of resting players for Saturday, but I still think we'll get a result, and I'm gonna go for 2-0 against Palace tomorrow. Now, as far as the weekend goes, we're on some winning streak, and streaks like that always have to come to an end. And I'm not saying we're gonna lose, but I think I could see a draw, considering the result in Old Trafford, and Arsenal definitely felt that they should have won. But then what United done that against City the weekend. No, you know what? I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to United.
Confident.
Rashford on 4. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot we had the Crystal Palace game. That actually reminds me I need to do my fancy football as well. So yeah, I think, and maybe I'm overthinking this, but United are on such a high from beating Manchester City that I think this might be a little bit of a lull and a bit of a kind of reality check for them. I actually think it's gonna, against Palace. I think this might actually be a draw, and I think you might end up getting a 1-1 draw or something out of this. I've seen it before where teams just get so hyped up about a good result, and they come out the next week and they kind of, not that they're blown out, but like they're kind of
as well.
It's hard to motivate then again, to get going, and that's a sign of real champions. If they can get a good result against Palace, I'll actually be impressed, because that's a sign that the manager's keeping them on track, keeping their head focused, not letting them get ahead of themselves. And if they can get a good result against Palace, I'd be impressed. In terms of the Arsenal and Manchester United game, I actually think United are going to beat them. Reason is I do see Arsenal throwing this league away, and whether it be now or whether it be in a week or two time, they're going to start dropping points, and it's inevitable. It's going to happen. The one thing I worry about is that when they do drop points, how many are they going to drop before they can bounce back? And that's why I think it'll be longer than they want. And if they get an injury along the way, or a sending off from Xhaka, which is very likely, they could start running into issues. And that's where I see them kind of dropping off and not being able to win the league. So I'm going to say Manchester United are going to win that game. But I do think you're probably spot on with your scoreline 2-1. I think it'll be a tight game. But I reckon if United are going to win it, they're probably going to win it in the last 10 minutes and then just shut up shop for the last 10 minutes. And I'm going to say Bruno to score. Maybe a penalty in the last 10 minutes. See something like that happening and changing the game. So
you see what you were saying as well about them dropping off, and this is a worry I have about United as well, is when the Europa League kicks off, it's a lot of games, and then United have this extra 2 games against Barcelona as well, which are going to be hard to fit in. But it's how Arsenal deal with that Thursday night, Saturday, Sunday again.
Yeah, exactly, and Arsenal are going to have the same problem as well, aren't they? Like they're going to be playing in Europe as well, so like they're going to have them issues, and that's where squad depth is going to come into it. I think Arsenal lack a little bit of squad depth, if I'm being completely honest. They have a couple of good players that can kind of come in, like the likes of Nketiah and stuff like that. Like they're all kind of young and stuff like that. So you'd imagine you'd get good kind of running out of them anyway. But yeah, I think they might lack squad depth, and what they might lack in squad depth, they might lack in experience as well. So you might be bringing on a player that's not necessarily ready for the big moment, and that's where I think Arsenal are going to fall off a bit. So yeah, I think we're both in agreement there. We think United are going to win. It's not to say they will, but sure, we'll see what happens.
I actually think the new striker is going to score.
Okay, right, fair enough. Right, Paddy, that's pretty much us wrapped up now. And Again, if you are watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, if you're listening to us on Spotify, get over to our TikTok page. There's a lot of videos going up there lately, and we're triggering a lot of people, which is very funny. We're also on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. If you are watching us on YouTube now, hit the little subscribe button. It'll take you 2 seconds, and it works wonders for us. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating if you can, and follow it and download it. Do all that shit that you can do for us. The more you do for us, the more we can grow and the more we can get better and get more content for you. So it all works. It's all swings and roundabouts. Paddy, it's been emotional. Sorry to bring you down a little bit with all me Manchester United negativity, but don't think it really affected you.
I did a little bit.
Did it? Good. Good. I'm glad it did, because I was not ready for a smug Paddy to come onto this fucking podcast this week, right? I had to take you down a peg or two, because I knew within the first 2 minutes you were going to be an absolute nightmare on this podcast.
Drag me down to your level.
Yeah, absolutely. If I go down, you're all coming down with me. I don't give a shit who I take with me. So, Paddy, nice for joining us this week.
Cheers, buddy.
And everyone, we will be back next week, possibly on Tuesday, 8 p.m, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We will talk to everybody then.